Good evening. I want to welcome you to another segment of the Jermaine Brown Sports Talk Show. Today is Sunday, July the 10th, 2022. I was trying to record this video earlier this past week, but I'm having some issues with my phone, so it was like, so much for that. But I'm trying on my iPad. My throat's a little sore, but I want to talk about the trade of Baker Mayfield to the Carolina Panthers. What does this mean for Baker Mayfield? What does this mean for the Carolina Panthers? And what does this mean for the Cleveland Browns and Deshawn Watson? And so I have a lot of ground to cover, so let's get started. What does this mean, excuse me, for Baker Mayfield? This Baker is basically in a prove-it year. He's got to prove that, he's a franchise caliber quarterback, a starting caliber quarterback. Now, there has been some rumors and leaks that came out the last couple of days about his off-field and on-field leadership that what happened in Cleveland. If Baker is wise, do not respond. If asked, just simply say, listen, I enjoyed my time in Cleveland. What's in the past is in the past, and I'm looking forward to my new challenge here with the Carolina Panthers. Do not get into a back and forth because it's a fight you're going to lose. Because at the end of the day, the Browns will be around a lot longer than you will be around. So you just got to know that. Don't get into a tit for tat with them. Okay? And here's the thing. You can't come off with this, woe is me. Nobody cares. Okay? Get over it and get over yourself. You're in a bad situation. I'm going to tell you why this is a good and bad trade for Baker Mayfield. And if this is a good and bad trade for the Carolina Panthers. Excuse me. Like I said, I got a little cold. But the good part of this trade is it allows Baker Mayfield to start over, to get a new start. In a division where it's not quite as good as the AFC North. I mean, you got two potential Hall of Fame quarterbacks before the trade for Deshawn Watson. You had, two potential Hall of Fame quarterbacks there in Joe Burrow and Lamar Jackson. I mean, they was just great. So it was going to be difficult for Cleveland to win that division consistently with Baker Mayfield. And the owner told you as much. He said, listen, he was watching the playoffs between Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes, and he knew he needed a quarterback who could compete on that level. And as much as Baker has grown on me, because I wasn't a big fan of him coming out of Oklahoma, I'll just be really honest. I would not have picked him number one, but they did. That's neither here nor there. But he kind of grew on me. But he just wasn't going to measure up to those quarterbacks. You're in a division where you only got to deal with Tom Brady for a year, and then the next best quarterback is Jameis Winston. So let's see how you handle that. So the good part of this trade is that, A, you get a new start. Here's the bad part of this trade. You're going to a team where the coach is basically on his last legs. Okay? And that doesn't make for a good situation. So that means he's going to be desperate. So that if you don't get off to a good start and play well long, he's going to pull you because he's going to be desperate. You just got to know that. Okay? You got an offensive coordinator who didn't really, Bob McAdoo, who didn't care for you. Okay? And not only that, his coaching style, his coaching acumen is in question. So you're not in a very good situation here. And you got to make the best of a bad situation. That's just the reality. Okay? I mean, it is just what it is. Now, what does this trade mean for the Carolina Panthers? You get a starting caliber quarterback. See, here's why I think Carolina made a bad move. Because unless you think Baker Mayfield is the long-term answer, bringing in Baker Mayfield doesn't do anything for you because Baker's good enough to win some games. And next year, there's supposed to be a crop of quote-unquote franchise-caliber quarterbacks coming out in the draft. Well, if that was the case, then bringing in Baker Mayfield was not the best move because Baker Mayfield won enough games to take you out of that sweepstakes. But I understand, the coach is desperate, so I get it. Matt Rule is desperate. But here's why I'm going to say it was a bad trade for Carolina, too, on another level. It was good in that you upgraded the quarterback position because Baker Mayfield is better than Sam Darnold. So let's just get that out right here, right now. Baker Mayfield is better than Sam Darnold. Okay? He just had a better career. So let's just get that out right here, right now. But here's why it's a bad move and nobody's really talking about it. But I'm going to talk about it. You was in a meeting 4 months ago to go after a guy like by the name of Deshawn Watson. Now, you can sit up there and say, well, because of his baggage, we didn't want to give him the contract he wanted, or we didn't want to do this, or we didn't want to do that. We were hesitant. See, you can't be hesitant. Because you knew about the baggage, it wasn't like you got into the meeting and then found out about the 22 allegations. You already knew about that before you met with the man. So when you go into a meeting like that, you're going to get a backlash. So you got to be prepared to go all in. And what is funny is that they always talk about the owner, David Tepper, who's the owner of the Carolina Panthers, as being this maverick guy, this go for it, I want my franchise guy. Well, you had a chance to get that franchise guy, and you blinked. You blinked. Which is surprising because you had a chance to land him. The contract Cleveland gave him, folks, is not a ridiculous contract. Now, it is historic in the length and it fully guaranteed. Yes, that is the historic part. But when you break down the dollars and cents, folks, it's only $46 million per season, averaging out. Don't tell me that 4 or 5 years from now that contract is not going to be a bargain. Barring Deshawn Watson never playing, that contract is going to be a bargain. Or he can't stay on the field because he can't stay healthy. That contract is going to be a bargain. He's a baller. So, why did you blink? And that's why I give the owner there for Cleveland credit. Okay? I give credit. He went all in. He puts all his chips in the middle. He didn't take no for an answer. And this is why I'm saying. So when you had a chance to get Deshawn Watson and you end up with Baker Mayfield, I'm sorry. That's not a good trade-off, in my view. I'm sorry. You would have been better off never meeting with Deshaun Watson, never getting into the trade discussions with the Houston Texans and Deshaun Watson. Then at least you could make the argument, hey, we didn't want to get involved with that, whatever. You can make whatever excuse you want. But once you got into that meeting, and there was 4 teams that was in that meeting, okay, Gail Benson and the New Orleans Saints, Arthur Blank and the Atlanta Falcons, obviously David Tepper and the Carolina Panthers, and then my man from Cleveland. So you got to understand, Jimmy Haslam from Cleveland. You got to understand my man from Cleveland. I like Jimmy. He said, I'm going all in, and I don't care what anyone else think. Because you know why? He trusted his research. If they really believed that Deshaun Watson did what they were trying to claim he did, I highly doubt they would have given him this contract. Matter of fact, there's a high likelihood he would not be playing. And I'm going to get to Deshaun Watson in a minute. But, so as far as I'm concerned, Carolina, you downgraded. You had a chance to get Deshaun Watson, and you screwed up. You missed the boat. Again. Now, what does this mean? Why? I think, why now is the question. Cleveland had a chance to trade Baker Mayfield around the draft to the same team. It was always the Carolina Panthers that was negotiating for Baker Mayfield. As far back as the draft, and maybe even earlier. But definitely the rumors were around draft day that he would be traded. So why did they wait until almost mid-July to trade him? Ask yourself that question. Now, I'm not a big conspiracy theorist. I'm not big on that. But you do know that people around the league talk. Now, the league is pushing for a 1-year ban, 1-year suspension for Deshawn Watson. The league is not going to get that 1-year suspension. I can pretty much tell you that right now. How do I know? Because look at the timing of when they traded Baker Mayfield. If they felt there was a high probability that Deshaun was going to serve a year, they would have just kept Baker Mayfield because you got him on the roster anyway. You had a chance to trade him much earlier. So don't tell me that you could not move Baker Mayfield early. Yes, you could have. You held him as insurance in the event things went south with the Deshaun Watson thing. At least I got Baker for a year, and you're forcing him to play. Because let's just keep it real. Baker had no other options. Okay? Baker had no other options. It wasn't like teams was beating down their door to get Baker Mayfield. And Baker sensed that. Baker knew it. That's why he said, oh, you know what? There's got to be some reaching out. He was referring to probably their end, Cleveland, that they got to reach out, But so I believe that Cleveland got the word that Deshaun Watson will not be serving a year. I don't even believe he's going to be serving half of a year. He's going to be serving around 4 games. Now it's my thinking it'll be around 4 games. And now they know we could deal with Jacoby Brissett for the first 4 or 6 games, whatever. Now let's trade Baker Mayfield. That's why I believe the timing of it matters. Because usually you don't see especially quarterbacks get traded in July. Usually it happens no later than June. Early June. But you don't see quarterbacks getting traded in July unless it's strategic. They have a strategic reason why they had Baker Mayfield around. Whether you can agree with it or not, they have a strategic reason. Now, what does this have to do now with Deshaun Watson? Again, I do not believe he will be serving a year. I believe it'll be around that 4-6 games. I think 4 max. I'm saying it's going to be about 4 games. He shouldn't miss no, and really he should not be suspended, but they're going to have to give him a couple of games just for being idiotic. Come on, dude. You can't be looking for girls on the internet to come on. Don't put yourself in that position. And for that reason, I would give him a couple of games. But that would be about it. And so I believe they got word somehow, some way. They know the number of games it's going to be. They pretty much have a good idea. That's why they traded Baker when they did. And so I believe that, it's just a matter of time. Now, this is the week that Sue L. Robinson, who's the judge or the arbitrator in this case, is hearing the case. And she's going to be getting the briefs this week from both sides, which is basically a summation of why they feel he should get a year, and on the other side, why he should not even be suspended, which both sides are arguing. One is arguing he should get a year. The other side is arguing that he should not be suspended. So, they got to submit their briefs this week, so look for her to make a decision within the next couple of weeks. Camp starts in 3 weeks. And that's another thing. Baker Mayfield, you're behind the 8 ball because now you just got the playbook as of a couple of days ago. So you don't have much time to waste. It's like learning a brand new language. You only got a couple of weeks to maybe a month to learn a brand new language and learn it fluent enough that you can operate it. Now, if I'm Cleveland, if I'm Carolina, I'm dumbing down the playbook to make it easy to facilitate Baker Mayfield's comfort level. You're going to have to give him bite-sized portions, morsels. You can't give him a big plate. Because, again, he's just learning the playbook. Okay? You just have to do it that way. And I would move Sam Darnold because why? I can't have Baker Mayfield looking over his shoulders that he having a bad game or a bad series or a bad couple of games. They're going to pull me for, Sam Darnold. And that's the risk you run if you keep both of them on the roster. So the reality is you're going to have to move Sam if I'm Carolina. And I would make it easier as possible on Baker Mayfield. That's just the reality. Okay? And I'm going to say this too. It's funny now that Bugsby comes out with a tweet saying, well, we never accused Deshaun Watson of sexual assault, violence, persuasion, coercion, none of that stuff. But that's not the way it was presented. You presented it as if he was doing these things. And that was low. because you had the public believing that this is what Deshawn Watson was all about. And you knew what you did. That wasn't cool. Okay? It wasn't cool. But it is what it is. I want to thank you for watching another segment of the Jermaine Brown Sports Talk Show. Have a good evening.